Hello. So, maybe you've noticed, maybe you've not, there's a new SRO Esport event coming up, which is going to be at the Sim Expo at the Nürburgring. And, well, not really to my liking. They changed the way they run the competition because they were unsatisfied that everybody was running the same car, which for each track was certainly the fastest. So we saw mainly Bentleys last time in Spa, and I think a lonely one or two lonely Mercedes, which one was driven by Joni Tomala, who got the pole. Bit unlucky in the race though from some damage, but he showed at least the Mercedes was competitive as set up, right? Can't show you these details sadly, but they weren't happy with having so many cars being the same, and I don't know if it's a contractual issue or not. They want to have more of the brands in the game in each event. So what they're going to do is, they have 12 drivers each race, so they have 12 rigs on site. And what they're going to do is each rig will have access to one car of Group A. So these are the cars that apparently seem to be the fastest in the game so far. Just a little, what wonders me a little is why the Bentley isn't up there. So the Bentley is always going to be a good choice from the B cars. However, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you can choose between one of these four cars. No, let me start over. You can't choose in the A class. Every rig has just the car that is in that list. And it's a lottery which rig you get. So let's say you get lot number 4, then you have to use the Mercedes. If you get lot number 7, you have to use the Lexus from the A group. If you're not happy with an A group car, you can choose any car from Group B. So there's the Bentley. Looks like a good choice most of the time. The Jaguar, well, was a good choice in Monza, but since the full version came out, it's not anymore. Then we have the Ferrari, which, if set up correctly, it could gain some pace. Straights hurt it a bit. So I don't know. Nürburgring could be a track where it could work, but generally time-wise, it's a bit off. Just looking for the list of cars, and to be honest, except for the Ferrari and the Bentley, none of the other cars is competitive at all. So the BMW is easily going to be a second off. The Porsche, 1.5, 2. Still have to find out. The Jaguar, as I said, was nerfed a bit. The Nissan, unlikely to be any useful. The McLaren didn't show any pace on any track so far. The Aston being in a very old car from 2012 or 13, I believe, that just doesn't have a proper rear diffuser, doesn't have the downforce to compete really until we have the 219 car. Then it could change. The Honda just showed in another video why it's basically shit. It's the gearing, it's the mid-engine, it's the turbo. Just doesn't make it easy to drive, and it's not fast either. Yeah, this Lambo is actually just slow. It's an older version also, and yeah. So let's assume these are the fastest cars. Let's take a look actually at it and see just by, let's do 3, 4, maybe 5 laps and see where we can end up. A lap time, just compare that, well, actually the fastest Group A car is, and then take a look at least 2 B group cars. By that you can already tell this is going to be a rather long video. So bear with me, and I'll try to put timestamps for each car so you don't have to scroll through on your own. Being messaged, ignore that for now. Go into the game. Already chose the Lambo, don't care for the livery. Just a Nürburgring, some hot lapping, and weather's going to be clear. Let's start it. I'll do it like this. I will start the mid-engine car first, so I don't have to transition between different driving styles too much. Let's take the aggressive setup for now, which in the Lambo is quite okay. You can squeeze maybe half a second out of the setup, maybe a little more, but generally the aggressive setup is also already a good benchmark for the Lambo. What you see right now is that I adjust the electronics to how I like them. Not gonna work telemetry now, which usually I would. The brake bias, I always move it further to the rear. Bumps of range. There's not too many bumps on Nürburgring, so we should use the lowest we possibly can. Not going to change the dampers for now. Not going to take the aero just. You see how long I have the game is almost 11. I can calculate 9 months, 9 to 10 months. So this setup is likely going to be outdated. Just override it, and I'm done. So let's drive around a bit. Fix the cable here so it doesn't get in the way. Have to charge the headset sadly. This looks right. Car is set. So what I'm going to look for now is just how fast I can get time out of the car. And the faster I'm able to do this, the more likely it is that, well, there's even more to find. So I'm staying at 5th here probably. Oh, I expect it to be more unstable there. This is literally the first lap I'm doing, so please allow me some errors. We'll see that in the Lambo you always need a little throttle to stabilize the car. Don't run too wide there. There's pickup rubber, which is gonna cause understeer very sudden. Oh yeah, the turn is nasty. Expected that. For now it feels a bit understeery, then it feels oversteery. This is just because my driving isn't very good. You can also see it up in the right corner. The car control isn't really where it should be. Oh, what's happening to it? No. Just thought I had a motion blur error. Don't overcook it. Moving the brake bias even further to the rear, I think there's some room. The Lambo really doesn't like being thrown around, so you have to be a bit gentle with it, and then it thanks you with the lap time. Oh, maybe I can use second gear there instead of first. It slows me down a little. I'm gonna try the same here. Could be alright. That's something you would see in the telemetry. Yeah, still going through there, a bit scary. Yeah, gearing is not on point in this one. You would want the gears either to be a little shorter or a little longer at some stages. That was well. Well, you can see just even a bad lap is going into the 55s already. Try the curb. Nah. Not a good idea. The lamp was really special to drive. And once you get the hang of it, it works really well. But until then, you really have to wrestle it. So this is how the corner should be driven. Exit speed 10 kilometers higher. Trying third. Nah. Maybe if you hit it right. This braking point here is always difficult. Not good driving so far. Still improving. Can still brake later, I think. Right now I'm using the 100-meter board for turn 1. Way too aggressive. It's always the same. When you're new to a track and car combination, you're not having the braking right, you don't have the acceleration right. And that means that you're playing around with the pedals way too much. What you ideally do in the end is you're either on throttle or you're off it, and this is like 100%. So either 0 or 100. And never back out of throttle once you accelerate. Because if you just do half throttle, this car will understeer, and then you will have to correct even more. It's bitchy. And when the speed through the turn is not right, you will understeer, you will oversteer, you will correct the car. And once you start to sort that, the whole driving changes, and then you can start extracting lap time in the half to second territory. Well, I start to see how the car wants to be driven around here. Just roll it in a little. Don't throw it. Roll into the turn. Don't turn in all of a sudden, just a bit more slowly. And when you feel the rear coming round under deceleration, just hit the throttle a bit to stabilize. The car really doesn't need much turning input. That was a good run. See, and the delta is already like minus 3/4 of a second. Just because I start to understand how it wants to be driven. Overcooked a little, and then there's no grip on the outside. The curb still shakes the car a lot, but with a say proper last turn we would be looking at 54.5. So you can already notice the traction control kicking in way less than in the first couple of laps, because I understand where I can floor the throttle and where I can't, where the car wants me to just let it do its thing before I tell it to do anything. Finding the braking points now. And interestingly, I don't attack at all. Yeah, there must be a way where I can stay on the throttle before without backing off. Slower than last lap, but still, if I don't screw the last turn, this looks good. Let it do its thing, wait, easy throttle to stabilize, and then once you can see the exit, then you can floor it, and then we have, yeah, that's what I was expecting. 54.4, this felt like an okay-ish lap. There's probably half a tenth to a tenth in most of the corners, so 53 certainly is what we're gonna see in a proper, yeah, in a proper lap, plus some setup changes, so maybe 53.3 seems realistic at the moment. Let's keep that in mind and switch to the Audi, which according to the physics developer, Aris, it's just a McLaren, sorry, not McLaren, it's just a Lamborghini with a better front end, which should make it a better car, but I haven't really found the track yet where it beats the Lambo, so let's take a look if it does here. Everything, of course, stays the same. I'll stick to the mid-engine, and these cars, they do drive similar, they sound a little similar. The seating position in the Audi feels different. You just feel more on the front of the car, kinda, while driving, if that makes any sense. We're also not gonna make too much changes here, except for the electronics. Also, the brake bias needs to go way further back. Bumps the range seems right to me. They're not gonna touch this for now because it wasn't anything major. It has way different aerodynamics, looks like the Lambo. We're going to stick with this for now. It's mostly the aggressive side, very slight changes, and also in the Audi as well. The base setup is fairly alright. I personally not a fan of these high toe values. But we'll see how the car behaves and then take a look at it later.
Green light, give it all you can.
So I hope the transition to this one is smooth because it drives very simple. It's just a bit more grippy than the Lambo is. It gives you more room for error. Right? It's not so difficult to drive. I can feel right away that it's way more stable than the Lambo. Well, that's typical. I wanted to oversteer a bit on me. It's way easier to drive. The rear is more stable, the front is more likely to turn. Doesn't mean it's faster though, this is just something that that's just something you see in the lap time in the end. Your feelings are just not accurate enough to see in advance if two similar cars, how far they are going to be apart. Just wait for the actual lap time to what this different driving behavior can convert in the end. But I have to say really, if the Lambo is too difficult to drive for some of you, and you're okay with giving away some of the lap time potential but still want a fast car, the Audi is the way to go. See, doing the 54.2 right away. Maybe I'm a bad driver as well. Well, you can never know how good the aggressive set really is, and you can change really a lot to get time out of the car. But this here definitely already has the better base. Way easier to place the car where I want it to be. And it's less likely to surprise me with anything. It's not like the rear comes around all of a sudden, or the front goes away from me. I can just more naturally drive it without having to take too much care of its specifics. So while with a Lambo, you're busy understanding the car, trying to respect what it wants you to do, and in the Audi it's way easier to force your way of driving onto the car already. Oh yeah, there it showed me what it wants. Don't use the curb like that. That was quite a catch. And still, lap time and the Lambo territory. Let's try one more. Can even throw it in here a little where the Lambo would get loose on the rear. And scrub speed away over the front tires. Use the curb a little without it being unsettled. Yeah, it's just more room for error in the car. Can touch the curb, no problem. avoiding the traction control quite well. Let's try the curb. Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah. When it comes down from the curb, it doesn't like it. So we could fix that with the damper settings. You have to know that it gets loose in the Schumacher ester, not because the dampers are on, but because the car is breaking the whole aerodynamic flow, and that's what it unsettles it. With the new patch, the traction control also became a little more gentle. Let's try to push just a little. I feel it's already... Yeah, that's what happens when you try to push a car that you already drive not too bad. You get slower. Yeah, you really have to respect the car, but let's say I see the 153 way easier here than in the Lambo, so actually at the moment I would choose it above the Lambo just because it gives you so much security. But yeah, if you pull in like 100 laps with the Lambo, it's probably going to give you the same kind of lap time. Okay, what's next? The other A cars that we had would be the, I think it was the Lexus and the Mercedes, but I will stick to the mid-engine cars for now, which means we're going into the B category, where the Ferrari is going to be, which generally on all the other tracks has been slower so far, but yeah, there's probably some potential in the setup. Aerodynamically, the Ferrari is the most developed because it's really, yeah, it's not very old, and it was purpose built for this series. So Ferrari invested a lot to make it a good car. Problem is just that it was so good that they took everything away from it, and the gearing is rather bad. We want less intrusive electronics, of course. We'll stay with that, except for the brake bias. Always just need it more to the rear. You see the bump stop range is like 0, so to keep the aerodynamics stable, which is something we would probably have to go for in the Audi as well to push it even more. This looks like something I would want anyway already. Aerodynamics, we'll stay with it like this for now. Just see how the balance is. I think the Audi was alright. I always like a bit more front end grip, and I can deal with the rear later. But yeah, this is very track specific and needs a lot of time to work out. Here, let's save this for now. It's also just the aggressive side. Give it a number. And number, I said. There you go. And let's use the Ferrari. Let me show you something. Maybe I'm probably not going to find it. The problem with the Ferrari is they've changed the engine so that the gearing now isn't ideal, which means you have to go to the ref limiter almost in every gear, because the next gear will always be yeah, in a range where the engine can't develop any power, and will give you less acceleration. Oh wow. It's always stunning to me how different all cars in this game really drive. You can feel from the first turn that everything has changed. This drives way less like a mid-engine car. It's not as twitchy. It just moves way more over the front axle, so it's way more oversteery at the beginning. So I have to change the style already a bit. and really wait until not the red lamps go on, but the red message in the dash appears before you shift up. There you go. Yeah, I might be able to take this flat actually. Let's see where we end up in the first lap. Doesn't feel too bad, but as I said earlier, that feeling is very deceiving. Yeah, well, this chicane is always special in any car. Turn, come on. Looks to me like using the outside curb there is gonna cost lap time. So even had a little error, 2 seconds off seems quite a lot. Yeah, it doesn't give me the same confidence as the Audi yet. But that's because it needs a different style of driving. Needs more turning angle. Yeah, maybe I want to work on the traction control there. It just allows too much drift angle. Yeah, it just needs like a very slight lift there. And if I set it up a little better, and if I dare a little more, I can sure take this flat. So we can use the curb here as well, yeah. So, even though this is also a mid-engine car, you have to drive it quite differently. While you have to be way more gentle with the Lamborghini and the Audi, you need to push this a lot. And really force it into the turn, throw it. Yeah, the rear is really unstable. Whew. Let's see if I can actually do a proper lap so we can compare. This for now doesn't feel any good. Let's not care too much about the track limits for now. This is because I'm still searching how the car needs to be driven when it actually turns. Do you need to be off throttle to make a turn? Do you need to give it a little throttle to make a turn? Do you have to gain all the time on the exit of the turn? But I'm already sure I need to drive quite hard. Yeah, when I lift the throttle, there's quite some turn-in happening. And as soon as I hit the throttle again, it understeers a bit. Through the Schumacher S there. Yeah, the traction control will play a big role in this. So that's, I think only the Honda and the Ferrari actually have that second traction control setting. Yep, it doesn't like that at all. There's something with the rear that needs to be changed for it to stay stable. For that, I would actually have to go to to telemetry to really see what's happening there. If the if the car is bottoming out, which wouldn't make any sense, or if the flow of aero actually breaks for some reason. Yeah, yes, this is also a car you can't do a 50% throttle, then it will just understeer. So you're either on throttle or you're not, but don't be half on the throttle. But you can already see that extracting the time in the Ferrari and finding the line and everything already takes way more time in the Audi, for example. Than in the Audi, of course. Then there's the moment at the end of the first gear where the car tries to snap on me, so I shift up early, which takes a lot of acceleration out of the Dunlop curve. So I'm feeling way less comfortable. It's more difficult to drive than the Audi, not as bad as the Lambo, and certainly has a problem going into the chicane here. Do I want it to roll or do I want to be on throttle? If you don't match the speed very, very precisely, you're just gonna smear away. Give me one more lap. Way too fast. Yep. Works better when you just trust it and floor the throttle. Just roll. Staying in second is more stable than using the first, but I think you lose some time on acceleration. Yeah, getting there, I guess. I don't know really what I changed, but I feel like all of a sudden I have a better idea of how to drive it. Well, let's see if I can prove it through here. Nope. Not a good turn, but at least a 54. So all of a sudden just gained a second, and doesn't look as bad anymore as I did just a lap ago. So really just takes some laps to understand what it needs. Ah, come on. I was on track. Just roll, then full throttle. Yeah, you need like the first gear to make it turn in, and then you need the second to accelerate out of the turn. Overcooked. Yeah, then the second was too long for that situation. Oh yeah. It really grips when it jumps down from the curb. So there might be an advantage for the car to use the curb through the Schumacher S, which means in the end you can go faster. And if I do a proper chicane here, wow, this is so unstable through there. Okay, so there are two things to work on in this car, and it's especially the last chicane, and for me, the last corner. Don't hesitate to steer a lot in this car. It likes it. It can take it. Yeah, well, it has to be done right. Okay, this is getting more difficult now as I have to push more to exact the time. I don't see it being far away now. Just needs to be driven very differently. So maybe there's a world where this B category car could be an option if the A car doesn't suit your style. Right now, let's go back. So what do we have around? We have a 54. 54.56 by the Lambo, 54.6 by the Ferrari, without being very comfortable through the last return. So there's certainly I'd even say half a second through there, which would put it fastest or on par with the Audi. Okay, so let's shift away from the mid-engine cars and choose the other fast ones, like the Mercedes earlier. Let's take a look how this A-class car behaves around the Nürburgring. Again, we'll just use the aggressive setup for now. Or also the electronics need to be off a little too much. I'm heating up. It's difficult. Dampers, leave them like they are, aerodynamic. Let's keep it like this and see where we end up with this car.
Right, here we go. Go, go,
go. Good thing in the Mercedes is the gearing is really good, and the engine is really good. You can shift up basically between 210 to 20, and it doesn't really matter. Because both gears will work. Oh yeah. Okay, this feels short. I think in the latest patch they also changed the way the traction control interference is calculated, so you might need to use a different setting right now, which I will try. The Mercedes right away is way easier to drive than the other cars, all of them combined I had before. But that's because of the longer wheelbase it has. And of course the engine being in the front. Generally just creates more understeer. Plus it has very good straight line speed because it's so powerful. Way easier to drive through here, way less risk to take. Really hugs the inside there nice. But let's see what it can do in terms of lap time. Brake points are almost the same for all of the cars. Must be something like 105 meters for the first turn. That was bad. Didn't at all make the turn in there. That's way better with the traction control on setting 2 already. The rear is not gonna go away from me. Same here. Yeah, I think you can use third as well as fourth there. Way easier to extract the lap time in this one. Was always going to happen, of course. So we're into 54s with that error already. Sure, use the curb here in the Merc, yeah. It just grips when it drops down from the curb and then you can throttle. You can give it everything you want. And when you don't floor the throttle right away, you won't have the traction control interfering too much, of course, and you will reward it with lap time. Yep, this is how I want the Delta to look. Can use the curb? Yes, I thought so. This thing goes, man. This is way more fun to drive than the Lambo just because you're so more confident with it right away. If it wasn't for that oversteer, the lap time would be better. So for now, yeah, that's all. It seems very similar. I'm quite surprised actually. I was sure before that at least one car will shine way more than the others and stick out and have half a second on them. That's aggressive. Not good. Nürburgring is just a special track with all the bank turns. They're very unique. And they don't allow you really to push the car. I just have to lift a little bit, try to go flat. But I think same goes for the Mercedes as goes for the Ferrari. That the Schumacher S could be flat, and that could give you a massive advantage over the unstable Lamborghini. I'm surprised I'm only in the 4th lap. I try to push it a bit, just a tiny bit more in the 5th, because as I said, pushing isn't necessarily fast. The weight transition here is very difficult for many cars, and you have to be really careful. I just slightly brake into that turn to hug the inside line. You will have a lot of ABS going into that one. That was a bit early on throttle. In many turns, it's just a waiting game until the car makes its way through, and you gotta give it the room it needs. Still not convinced by second gear there. Ah, damn it. It's like, I don't know, 5 centimeters missing. And then the grapple slows you down so much. Yep, that one is very nasty. If you go too far to the inside, there's a second curb that will really, well, go onto the suspension. Okay, one last one. Just if I can put it together. Wait. Don't floor the throttle. You have to gently apply it. Not as good as in the best lap. Still decent. Roll too far to the inside. Brake too much, was too slow. Now everything is compromised now. That way doesn't work either. Okay, I start trying too hard, which produces a lot of errors. I'm sure if I would take it more easy, I can easily beat the time, and then it's on par with the Audi right away. So by now, it's even say we almost have 4 cars who deserve to deserve a look into the setup, how far you can push them. So I think the last one I wouldn't test in is the Bentley, which is going to be difficult because you're sitting on the wrong side, of course. Make sure you're picking the 218 Bentley, not the 215 one. There you go. Boy. I'm surprised, really. I thought the cars would be way further apart. Maybe it's just me because I'm nowhere near the limit and it really takes a lot of laps to go there. Allow me 100 laps in each car and might look rather different than it does now. So as with every car, we will just do the same here. This needs to go way further to the front in the Bentley. To the back, always to the back. Stick with that, stick with that. And, well, save it. This is also the aggressive one. And let's go from here. Let's see if I can work this.
Green light, give it all you can.
Let's see how fast I can adapt to right side driving. The seating position is a lot different. Sometimes you just feel the car differently just because you sit in a different place. Let's see how wide it is. There you go. Oops. Yeah, the Bentley and the Mercedes, they drive very similar. They have a similar engine, similar gearing. Oh, it's really difficult. Everything just looks different. All the left turns, I have to take them, well, it feels like to take them from further outside just because of the seating position. Oh, the gearing might not suit this one here. Yeah, and all the right turns I have to be a bit more inside. At least this is how it feels. That's a bad time. There you go. It's driven very similar to the Mercedes. Maybe a little more aggressive. The gearing is similar. For example, in the Mercedes and in the Bentley, I don't have to shift to fifth on that short straight there. Has torque. Just the third might be a bit short for this, and the fourth a bit low. But still, the exit speed seems alright. Yeah, third and second for this right-hander are not ideal. Have to work out a way to use both there. Yeah, most cars need work on the suspension for the chicane. Might just be me because I haven't driven the Bentley very much. The lap time is just not there yet. Also, this car doesn't like to be forced. And of course, well, I said the engines are similar, which is a lie because this is a turbo. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is... When you're sitting on the right side, you're misjudging the curbs on the left. And the turbo makes it just a tiny bit harder to drive. You can be early on the throttle, but once the turbo kicks in, similar to the Honda, not as bad though. That was a good one. And when the turbo kicks in, you're gonna oversteer. There you go. So not even a 54 now, which is certainly my driving. I expect it to be rather fast. But I'm just not giving it the inputs it needs by now. I at least did one good lap to really compare. Was alright, but definitely not fast. Yep, right side driving is difficult. Yeah. I think it's mainly the right side driving that puts me off here. But the car wants something else that I don't quite see yet. In some cars you feel it earlier, in some later. This one just doesn't speak to me as well as the Audi or the Mercedes. You can see from all the corrections I do on the wheel, on the pedals, that I'm still far from being there where it wants to be driven. Yeah, I feel some gears aren't perfect for the corners. Like the second is a bit too short and too long in some. Okay, let's refocus. And I'll give it one more lap. Maybe I can at least go into the 54s, which by now seems far away. Man, this thing is so wide. Maybe that's why it was good at Spa, because the track's really wide. Yeah, I just don't know where it ends. Alright, come on. I think I wasn't a limiter there. Again, the limiter's too early. Well, of course it isn't. Just me shifting too late. So yeah, just watch the red lights in this one. Just too long for there. This is too long as well. I'd say it's down to my driving and the car requiring a little different input than I'm giving it. Okay. So let's say this wasn't a bad lap. Of course there were some small errors, but they don't amount to a second. So for now I'd even say the Bentley isn't really there. Doesn't mean it actually is not, but for me it will be way more laps to see where he goes. It wasn't the last one I remembered to have to do the Lexus, and then we're done. I'm starting to get worn a little, start to feel worn. I can't focus as much anymore. There's just an amount of practice you can do that makes sense, especially when it's 30 degrees outside and it's probably 35 in here. Yeah, about the Lexus, this thing wants to be beaten. Really, you have to push it really hard, have to throw it around, brake hard, accelerate hard, steer a lot, wrestle it a lot, use the curbs, use all the track you can get your hands on, and then you will extract lap time there, and it really likes to ride the curbs. For example, you saw it in Paul Ricard, where it was, if not near the Lambo, it was faster. Well, you would say if it wasn't faster, it was near the Lambo or on par. Let's keep everything for now, just the electronics, maybe the brake bias, I changed that as well. Camber's there. Let's see where we're going with this.
Green light, go, go, go.
The engine is really nice. It almost feels like a NASCAR. And you really want to push and push and push in this one. Feels like the brakes are good. This car's really nice. Even though you do a lot of throttle, it doesn't really oversteer. The engine has power across the whole range. So even though the gear seems a bit long for here, the power is still there to get it out of the turn. Just a little correction there on the throttle because I didn't hit it as well. Maybe I can use third there even. Way more stable than all the other cars I had driven before. And it shows in lap time right away. Wasn't even a good lap. And pretty sure I can do a 53. This gives you so much confidence. And you just throw the throttle and there's no traction control kicking in. Also barely any ABS. What a machine. Also a car which could potentially go flat out there. Use this curve a lot more. Stay in third. No, third doesn't work. At least not the way I drove it. You can just throw it in there and the rear is gonna stay with you. Wow. This is so easy to drive. Everything else is a joke compared to this so far. The traction control just is way more gentle. If it kicks in at all, it just allows the slip angle. Can be so aggressive on the throttle. And it would go forward, not even slip. looking good. This was better than before. Wow. It's easier to go to the limit in the car maybe, because it's so easy to drive. You just steer and it turns. You just hit the throttle and it accelerates. You hit the brake and it slows down. It doesn't ask too much of you, and you can see that this car is easily half a second ahead. Ride a curb, it doesn't matter. There's more speed in this one here too. It's way easier to find the line in this car. And it's so easy to place on the track. You can attack so easily with it. Okay, let's say this was a decent lap. And boy, that's quick. So if I had to choose by now, the Lexus would be the A-pick car. I don't see the others near right now. There's always lots of stuff you can do in the setup to improve, but I mean, this is 6/10 ahead of the next fastest car, which was the Audi, I think, and then it was the Ferrari, Lambo, and Mercedes pretty much on par, and at least for me, the Bentley was a bit behind, though I think it can go faster. So yeah, let's call it a day. Nürburgring, the Lexus seems a bit ahead at the moment, but let's see at the actual event in 1 week time. Yeah, with what kind of setups everybody came up, and let's see which car can battle for the lead with a Lexus. Bye.